2 minutes till broadcast. One minute till broadcast. Thirty seconds till broadcast. Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. Begin transmission.
Broadcasting from the heart of the nation, the next generation in conservative talk radio. This is the Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Oh, yes, it is. What is up, my friends? Welcome into it. It is your pre-Friday celebration, the greatest day of the entire week. You see the light at the end of the tunnel. That light may be a whole bunch of snow and ice, but by golly, it's coming up right around the corner, and we are preparing ourselves for Snowmageddon 2026. Just 4 years after the last Snowmageddon of the country, when everybody freaked out and, you know, people froze and people lost their power because we didn't have electric grids that were able to hold it. You know, just the typical thing. So we're preparing you for that one. We'll see how it goes over the next few days. But it is a Thursday, the pre-Friday celebration, setting you up for the rest of the week, and we are so excited to be here with you as usual. Welcome into it. It is the Voice of Reason. My name is Andy Hooser, broadcasting out of the heart of the nation in Wichita, Kansas, where our flagship station is KQAM, but we are all over the country on so many great radio affiliates doing our thing.
Do it live!
Right here on the program. So wonderful to have you. HooserReason.com is the website if you want to jump on the show. I think I got it all right. If you want to reach out to the show, HooserReason.com, social media at Hooser Reason, and the podcast at The Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser. Is that all of it? Now can we do
Winning.
All right, I think we got everything out now, and you can go check us out however you want to. We have officially solved the problem. We did it. The problem is solved. We solved the problem, right? Yeah.
We did it! We did it! We did it! Yay!
So we have officially found out why. We have a picture that is floating around social media of ICE, the Immigration and Custom Enforcement, the most evil, horrible people on the face of the earth. We have now officially found out why they have arrested a 5-year-old child, where according to Vice President J.D. Vance, who has talked about the issue, was asked about it during a rally on the economy and business investment and so on and so forth, was asked about that and said this.
A local school district here is alleging ICE agents detaining a 5-year-old after preschool on Tuesday. We've also seen multiple American citizens detained by ICE or harassed by ICE in the last 6 weeks. Are you proud of how
Are you proud of ICE doing this and arresting 5-year-olds?
Well, I'm proud of the fact that we're standing behind law enforcement, and I'm proud of the fact that we're enforcing the country's laws. But, you know, you asked a question about this 5-year-old kid. I actually saw this terrible story while I was coming to Minneapolis. We just left Toledo, Ohio this morning for an economic messaging event. And I see this story, And I'm a father of a 5-year-old, actually, a 5-year-old little boy. And I think to myself, oh my God, this is terrible. How did we arrest a 5-year-old? Well, I do a little bit more follow-up research. And what I find is that the 5-year-old was not arrested, that his dad was an illegal alien. And then when they went to arrest his illegal alien father, the father ran. So the story is that ICE detained a 5-year-old. Well, what are they supposed to do? Are they supposed to let a 5-year-old child freeze to death? Are they not supposed to arrest an illegal alien in the United States of America? If the argument is that you can't arrest people who have violated our laws because they have children, then every single parent is going to be completely given immunity from ever being the subject of law enforcement. That doesn't make any sense. No one thinks that makes any sense.
I love the enthusiasm J.D. Vance has, and he's right. So, boom, we have explained the story, so now media can stop harping on the fact that Immigration and Custom Enforcement has now arrested a 5-year-old child, right? Will the narrative change in the mainstream media? Probably. Probably not, but by golly, at least now we understand what the heck's going on. But a picture says 1,000 words, and the picture is what's going to be floating all over social media to continue on with the demonization and the rhetoric, the campaign against law enforcement agencies, and especially ICE across the nation. Golly. All right, bottom of the hour, we have Leslie Manukian on the program. It's been a while since we've had her on. She is with the Health Freedom Defense Fund. We will talk about the battle in the courts right now, the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals, on whether individuals have the right to make their own decisions on potentially unwanted medical treatments. And that's along with the states and state health departments that may be balking against the federal health departments now because, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. and the health departments, the CDC, not following science. That's what they're telling us. Oh, come on. I know, right? That's what they try to tell us. But so health departments now putting up a wall fighting against the federal government. And if they're allowed to do that, aren't we allowed to fight against the state health department? So I'll have that conversation with Leslie at the bottom of the hour. But a big day today, man. A lot of things going on with our What's Trending.
What's trending today?
Yeah, we do have, we'll play some in a bit, but did you hear the Jack Smith hearings today? Golly, after all the indictments, the going after Donald Trump for years under the Biden administration, Donald Trump obstructing justice or, trying to Russian collusion or being a felon of 34 counts or whatever they try to say, Jack Smith officially doing his hearing in front of Congress today, and Jim Jordan, man, laying down the law, trying to get down to the nitty-gritty.
It was always about politics. The good news is the American people saw through it. They saw through it. For so long, the left has controlled so much in this country. The left controlled big media, the left controlled big tech, the left controlled academia, Hollywood, certainly the Democrat Party, and I think all too much the federal bureaucracy. But the left doesn't control we the people. And in spite of the left and the weaponization efforts of Jim Comey, Alvin Bragg, Bonnie Willis, and Jack Smith, we the people saw through it all. And we elected President Trump twice.
So we'll play some of the audio a little bit later, but it really does set the precedent on exactly what that hearing was like. Now, that's not to say I don't know what the outcome's going to look like with Jack Smith because we hear a lot of rhetoric, and the hearings, again, are ways for politicians to do their grandstanding, to make their points, to get their sound bits, to send them to their constituents and be like, look, we're laying down the law and we're figuring it out one way or the other. And Democrats are like, oh, Jack Smith, you're so awesome. Thank you for everything that you've done. Republicans are going after him, and rightfully so. But will we see arrests? Will we see any type of ramification and a consequence for violating the law, for politicizing our Department of Justice, for going after political opponents in a way through the court system that was not intended? Will we see results of this? That's what we care about. We do not care about the rhetoric or the grandstanding any longer. We want action. We don't want just talk, because talk is cheap nowadays. And I think the Trump administration has done a great job, whether you like him or not. He's done a great job of actually exposing politicians for talking a lot and talking big words, but not actually following through with much of their action. So we'll see what happens. But there is some good news, and that leads to our bigger story of the day.
What's trending today?
There have been some arrests in certain areas.
Say what?
I know. There's been some arrests going on, and that's up in the state of Minnesota, where Pam Bondi, who has been arguably kind of the weak link in the chain for the Trump administration and the cabinet so far, because of the lack of action, how we've done the lack of transparency for the Epstein files and so on and so forth. But she's been up in Minnesota, and now apparently there have been 2 arrests on the agitators that violated the church, that are causing issues with ICE and that are the quote-unquote freedom fighters up in the city of Minneapolis. So we need to give a round of applause for that. Yeah, one more.
We did it! We did it! Yay!
Well done. We did do something. One of them is the guy by the name of William Kelly. And if you have not followed his social media, it is hysterical, man. Highly recommend you go and check out his wicked, wild, freedom fighting stances on social media. He's, the earrings and the tattooed up, which there's nothing wrong with that. I got my tattoo and I want plenty more. There's nothing wrong with that. But he truly thinks these agitators that are out there throwing the fit, disrupting ICE, wanting to be the ICE watch, all these Antifa members, whatever, they truly think they're some type of revolutionary. They truly think that what they're doing is like changing culture, changing the age, changing the times, changing civic duty or whatever it is that they think that they're doing. They truly think they're freedom fighters out there when they're nothing more than an annoyance. That's all it is. They're breaking the law. They're violent, trespassing on private property like they did with the church. If you remember this past weekend where Don Lemon was part of this and all these agitators went into a church service because apparently the pastor is the head of ICE for the community there. They went in there, they disrupted the church service, and then they were bombarding the pastor about why he supports ICE. And he's like, look, we're in a church service right now, bro. We're just trying to worship Jesus. That's all we're trying to do. But they went in there, they circled the pews, they started chanting, and they went after him, disrupting, violating the private property of a church. And this guy, who apparently has a long record of doing that, threatened for us to come after him.
So, Pam Bondi, you want to come and arrest me? You want to come and give me charges? So be it. And for all the people giving me death threats, threatening my life, kill me. Go ahead, kill me. Because you know what? As Fred Hampton said, you can kill the revolutionary, but you can't kill the revolution.
These guys are absolutely insane. They think they're revolutionists. They think they're trying to fight an injustice system. They're fighting the Gestapo or the SS of the Nazi regime. They truly feel they're doing something productive by going into a church, interrupting the church service, and just harassing the people in the pews and the pastor himself. They think they're doing the work of society by what they're doing. So he's been arrested. So he threatened it. Come and get me, bro. Well, we got him. So well done on that front. There's been another arrest as well, though. And the main lady that organized it, and I'm going to slaughter her name, is it Nakima? Nakima Levy Armstrong, who was the one that actually went on CNN, tried to explain what they were doing, and tried to justify the actions of interrupting a church service, has also been arrested, according to Pam Bondi, the press release that's come out. She was on, meaning Nakima, was on CNN recently, again, trying to justify, and maybe they don't remember that there's like actual video evidence of what they did, because they just think that these aren't the droids you're looking for. Reality doesn't exist, and you can just make up stories as you want, because apparently they said they were there just being part of the church service.
And I do want to correct something that was said in the beginning. We did not rush into that church.
What?
We actually went and sat down and participated in the service.
Hold on. Now, if you go back, and there's video all over the place from this past weekend, it's very evident. You see them because people that are part of the protest were videotaping. They walked into the church from the back door. They all circled around. One went down the middle aisle. Others went down the side aisle. They circled the pews, and they began chanting, "Hands up, don't shoot." They started chanting, "Defund ICE," or whatever else that they were chanting. They interrupted the pastor as he was in the middle of his sermon. So that right there is just a bold-faced lie. But again, to them, they're going to listen to that. People on the CNN side, on the other side of the aisle, will be like, "Oh, okay, yeah, they're peaceful protesters." They were just participating in the service. They were there since the beginning. They did the whole Hail Marys, or they did their prayers, or they did whatever. They were just peaceful there. They were already there to be part of the service.
And I do want to correct something that was said in the beginning. We did not rush into that church. We actually went and sat down and participated in the service. And after the pastor prayed, that is when I stood up and asked him a question in response to his prayer. And then he responded to me. And then I proceeded to ask him about Pastor David Easterwood and how is it possible for him to serve as both the pastor and the director of ICE for Minnesota.
That's really stupid,
and
by the way.
instead of responding to me, as soon as I said the name David Easterwood, the pastor said, "Shame, shame." And that is when I led us in chants, "Justice for Renee Good" and "Hands Up, Don't Shoot." So I want to clarify that. We didn't rush in. We didn't bust in. We were a part of the service until I got up and posed that question to the pastor.
All right, and obviously I'm not going to dispute your saying what happened. I'm merely describing how CNN is describing it. I obviously wasn't in the room.
I obviously wasn't in the room. I only saw all the video, so I'm not going to dispute what you had to say. We had the video rolling as the B-roll right beside you while you're giving your testimony of you marching into the room, but I'm not going to just try and test what you had to say because you're a guest on here and we don't want to disrupt the narrative that you're trying to set. Do you remember, if God forbid you ever get in trouble with the law, but do you ever remember if law says you have the right to remain silent because anything you say or do will be used against you in the court of law? Like, has that ever been said, or have you ever heard that with your Miranda rights? They might want to start following that message because saying flat-out, bold-faced lies when we have video evidence countering that, while they're supposed to be lovey-dovey, we were there praying with everybody else with our faith, and then we just asked the question, how could you be a pastor and the director of ICE at the same time? Because Jesus wouldn't want you to arrest people that are breaking the law. Like, really? That's what you're going with?
This is the Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
When America builds, the world follows. Our energy powered the 20th century. We've set the standard for generations, and we never waited for permission. But now, we're being held back. Outdated rules, endless delays. Without permitting reform, Washington's red tape is slowing us down while other nations race ahead. It doesn't have to be this way. We can clear the way for energy that's affordable, reliable, and built right here. Because what's built here is felt here. Lower costs, more jobs, stronger communities. That's what permitting reform makes possible. Energy didn't just shape our country, it powered the American dream. And with our innovation, we can lead the 21st century. Congress has a choice. Build America's energy future or risk falling behind. Tell Congress, pass permitting reform now.
Miss any part of the show? Well, don't worry. Now's your chance to go find the podcast and listen to as much of the Voice of Reason as you'd like. As the show continues to grow all across the nation with great radio affiliates, we also continue to grow as one of the top conservative podcasts, ranked 5th on the MillionPodcast.com Best 50 Conservative Leadership Podcasts in the nation, and number 1 on FeedSpot.com's 30 Best Conservative Talk Shows in the country. The show continues to grow each and every day. Just find us on any of your favorite podcasting sites at The Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser. Hey, did you know that you can have multiple different networks on one single smartphone? Well, with Patriot Mobile, you can. It's time for you to sign up for the Patriot Mobile primary phone plan with plans as low as $15 a month, where you can have 2 numbers and 2 networks on one single phone. And right now, if you sign up using the promo code REASON, you can get an entire month absolutely free. It's the Patriot Mobile One plan. 1 phone, 2 numbers, and 2 networks. And it's all at patriotmobile.com/reason. Again, patriotmobile.com, and use the promo code REASON.
What fuels the freedom to dream bigger? How did 2 guys in a cramped California garage reimagine the phone and put the power of the universe at our fingertips? At Americans for Prosperity, we believe greatness can happen anywhere. We just need freedom and the opportunity to make it real. But today, with a rigid system stifling progress, limiting creativity, and holding us back. That's why at AFP, we offer solutions that tackle the most critical challenges facing our country, so there's nothing standing in the way of America's next breakthrough. Because what we build today doesn't just shape the future, it defines it. How will you be defined? Take your first step today with Americans for Prosperity.
When you choose Patriot Mobile, you're not just picking a wireless provider. You're choosing a company that shares your values. It's easy to switch, and you can keep your number, your phone, and most importantly, your values. With Patriot Mobile, you get the power of nationwide coverage on all 3 major networks. That means wherever life takes you, we've got you covered on the same reliable networks you already know and trust. And when you need us, we're here for you right here at home. Our customer service is 100% US-based because we believe that support should come from people who understand you and your values. At Patriot Mobile, you're not just another call, you're a priority. In today's world, where you spend your money matters more than ever. Every dollar is a vote for the kind of future you want to build. Join the thousands of Americans making a difference with every call, every text, and every connection. Choose a company that shares your values. Choose Patriot Mobile.
Switch today and get 1 month of service absolutely free by going to patriotmobile.com/reason.
When reason meets radio. This is the voice of reason with Andy Hooser.
Yeah, welcome back into the program. Great to have you today. Apparently, rules don't matter, logic doesn't matter, reality doesn't matter, and video evidence doesn't matter. We're just going to say whatever we want to, and people will believe it and be like, oh, totally peaceful, not a big deal whatsoever. We can totally go into a private property of a church during a service, interrupt them, and then not get in trouble for it because, well, we were there being part of the service as well, because that's the reality that we live in today. I don't know that it's going to work out very well, and that individual has, by the way, been arrested according to the orders from Attorney General Pam Bondi. So it's small, but I guess we'll take the wins when we can, right? We'll take what we can. As we continue to see the investigation on the criminality of those fighting against federal law enforcement during, by the way, federal operations. Hey, I want to tell you about my friends over at Lean. I continue to take mine each and every day. If you have not heard me talk about it, I've been taking it since the beginning of January. January 1, I started my regimen. I feel awesome. It feels great. I'm about 4 to 5 pounds down now in the last 2 weeks. That's awesome. And it's all because of Lean. If you're trying diets and if you're giving up on your New Year's resolution, don't. Why not? You're still in the month of January, for crying out loud. Don't give up that easy, and you don't want to do fad diets that you've done over the years. Juice cleanses, cabbage soup diets, raw food diets. Some of them sound great. Some of them, I don't know who does a cabbage soup diet. That sounds a little weird. But if you've tried other ones, they work, but they're really hard to maintain because you're going to do the diet, and then by the time you end, it's going to start all over again. Doctors call it weight cycling, and a lot of Americans do it. When you lose 10 pounds or so, then you put the pounds back on and you gain a little bit more. It's really tough on your body. It's really tough on your organs, and it leaves you really frustrated. Bottom line, most people need help losing weight, and here's a great way to do it with non-prescription Lean. It's created by doctors. It's an oral supplement, not an injection like those GLP-1s, and the science is really cool. It helps maintain your healthy blood sugar. You can control your appetites and cravings, and it helps by burning fat by converting it to energy. And burning fat helps keep the weight off. If you want to lose meaningful weight with a healthy pace, add Lean to your diet and your exercise lifestyle. Right now, you can get 20% off of Lean by going to the website at takelean.com and use the promo code REASON. That's REASON. Again, takelean.com. Use the promo code REASON and get your 20% off your order. Do it right now. All right, I want to shift gears real quickly over to this Jack Smith hearing, because that was pretty fascinating today, hearing what he had to say, trying, as they usually do, which I got to give him credit, at least showing up. We have the Clintons that didn't show up. We have a lot of Democrats that just don't feel the need to do so because, well, it's a Republican corrupt system. It's just the vendetta against the Trump administration to go after their political opponents. That's what they try to use to brush this off. And the media is like, oh, yeah, the clapping seals over there. That sounds great. Don't worry. You don't have to do anything that Republicans want you to do as federal officials because, well, they're just political hacks doing the vendetta of the retaliation tour of the Trump administration. But Jack Smith did show up and then said this.
I want to be clear. I stand by my decisions as special counsel, including the decision to bring charges against President Trump.
Yeah, okay.
Our investigation developed proof beyond a reasonable doubt that President Trump engaged in criminal activity. If asked whether to prosecute a former president based on the same facts today, I would do so regardless of whether that president was a Democrat or a Republican.
Sure.
No one should be above the law in this country, and the law required that he be held to account, so that is what I did. To have done otherwise on the facts of these cases would have been to shirk my duties as a prosecutor and as a public servant.
Now, during the hearings, there was some really interesting back and forth with especially some of the Republican legislators and congressmen and women that were in that committee hearing for transparency and for the investigation, of saying that the investigations that Jack Smith had done and opened up cases against, it was like a 95-5 ratio of Republicans over Democrats. So the fact that he says, I'd do it against anybody, sure you would. Yeah, that's because that's the guy that let Hillary Clinton go for whitewashing all of her hard drives and destroying them and openly admitted to doing so, and then was just like, what's the point? At what point does it really matter? I did it, so what? You can't do anything about it. But don't worry, you can take that guy at his word, I'm sure.
This is the Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Hey, it's Andy Hooser with the Voice of Reason. Fighting for conservative principles seems more difficult all the time. The progressive left finds new and creative ways to limit freedom, abuse power, and trample the Constitution each and every day. That's why we need the knowledge, resources, and common sense to push back. And that's where we can help. Head to our website at HooserReason.com. There you can find our latest blog discussing topical issues of the day. Let us know your thoughts on current events with different surveys and chat rooms. And keep track of what I might be doing or where I may be speaking. Plus, when you head to the website, you can always get great deals and different offers from all of our great radio partners. Finally, if you want more of the show, you can find our podcasts with all of our great episodes and your favorite guests. And make sure to check out the latest Voice of Reason infomercials and maybe some other special content. And it's all because of you being part of the Hoosier-holic family. Let's continue to fight for conservative common sense principles together by going to HooserReason.com. Why? Because it's kind of the reasonable thing to do.
What fuels the freedom to dream bigger? How did two guys in a cramped California garage reimagine the phone and put the power of the universe at our fingertips? At Americans for Prosperity, we believe greatness can happen anywhere. We just need freedom and the opportunity to make it real. But today, with a rigid system stifling progress, limiting creativity, and holding us back. That's why at AFP, we offer solutions that tackle the most critical challenges facing our country, so there's nothing standing in the way of America's next breakthrough. Because what we build today doesn't just shape the future, it defines it. How will you be defined? Take your first step today with Americans for Prosperity.
When you choose Patriot Mobile, you're not just picking a wireless provider. You're choosing a company that shares your values. It's easy to switch, and you can keep your number, your phone, and most importantly, your values. With Patriot Mobile, you get the power of nationwide coverage on all 3 major networks. That means wherever life takes you, we've got you covered on the same reliable networks you already know and trust. And when you need us, we're here for you right here at home. Our customer service is 100% US-based because we believe that support should come from people who understand you and your values. At Patriot Mobile, you're not just another call, you're a priority. In today's world, where you spend your money matters more than ever, every dollar is a vote for the kind of future you want to build. Join the thousands of Americans making a difference with every call, every text, and every connection. Choose a company that shares your values. Choose Patriot Mobile.
Switch today and get 1 month of service absolutely free by going to patriotmobile.com/reason.
What fuels the freedom to dream bigger? Our country's greatest breakthroughs were born from bold ideas and the ability to take one small step forward. At Americans for Prosperity, freedom and opportunity find their defenders. Because our country's next giant leap is just around the corner. Are you ready to step up?
Hey, the live show may be almost over today, but it doesn't have to be for you. As always, enjoy The Voice of Reason with our daily podcast by finding The Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser on any of your favorite podcasting sites. Just find us, subscribe, have it automatically downloaded, and listen at your convenience whenever you want to bring some more reason into your day. And a lot of people are doing it. Also, you can always find the video of the show, along with articles, additional commentary, and maybe a few sarcastic remarks by following us on our social media. Stay up to date with everything going on with the show, including upcoming guests, breaking news stories, interesting articles, and maybe some memes. Help us in the ongoing battle with censorship and shadow banning from social media by following us on the social media at Hooser Reason on all of our social media sites. For all these social media links, podcast links, contact information, or just general information of the show, go to our website at HooserReason.com. There you can listen live every day, read our latest monthly blog, find our radio affiliate list, or even listen to our latest infomercials and special content. Plus, you can always reach out to the program by sending me a message on social media, emailing us at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com, or sending an email through our website at HooserReason.com. Whether it's content on the show, whether it's a guest that you've liked or disliked, or whether you want to disagree with me, and disagreement's always appreciated. While you're there, make sure to sign up for our monthly newsletter. Each month, you'll get the latest update on the show, updates from the Hooser Media Network, and our latest blog discussing topical issues of the day. Finally, if you want to help support the show, become a member of our Patreon site and help us fight for the cause of truth, reason, and common sense every day.
Truth, reason, and common sense. This is The Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Treasury Secretary described you as Patrick Bateman meets Sparkle Beach Ken. The White House Communications Director.
That was the U.S. Secretary of Treasury.
I have a couple more, and then you can respond. The White House Communications Director called you Gavin Newscomb, and and an official White House account, a federal government account, described you with I'd say very online sexual slur that people here probably don't want to hear at 8:30 in the morning. And you're, in some sense, responding in kind. And waving the kneecaps around.
I'm sorry. Okay, fight fire with fire. Yeah, okay, that's Gavin Newsom. By the way, that was at the World Economic Forum, and he was bitter and angry that he wasn't able to speak at the World Economic Forum. Apparently, he already thinks he's the leader of the country, and I get it. California's a big economy. It's the 5th largest in the world. I get that. Very large economy. So what? You're not the representative of the United States, but I really like it. We need to start using that more on the show. What was it called? It was California Glitter Sparkle Ken. What?
Treasury Secretary described you as Patrick Bateman meets Sparkle Beach Ken.
Sparkle Beach Ken. I like that. Well done. We may have to start using that more on the show. All right, let's shift gears a little bit here, shall we, as we go to our...
Let's go to the Hooser Media Hotline.
As you know, there's been some major changes in the health policy, which has been good news. The MAHA movement moving along, the de-escalation of the vaccine craziness, according to the CDC, the Center for the Department of Health and Human Services, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., changing the childhood vaccine schedules from 18 down to 11. And by 18, we really mean a lot more because they inject a whole bunch of them into one vaccine. So people talk about even like 70-plus vaccines that you're really getting as a child and moving that down. But we have that, and now health departments at a statewide level are like, nah, we're not really going to go along with that. We're on flagship here in Wichita, Kansas. Our Kansas Department of Health and Environment has released a statement last week and said, no, we're going to stick with the original plan because we believe the science, and we're not going to abide by the new recommendations from the CDC. So now we have a battle between state health departments that are battling the federal health department. And then we have the argument that's being discussed in court right now, and that's where we're going to go to with our guest, on whether individuals can battle against the state health departments and saying, wait a second, I don't need unwanted medical treatments in some fashion. I'm going to make my own medical decisions. That's where we go to with our next guest here on the program with our What's Trending story.
What's trending today?
Yeah, she's with the Health Freedom Defense Fund and their new coalition that they have. Really excited to have back on the program, Leslie Manukian. Leslie, how are you, my friend?
I'm great, thanks, Andy. So good to be with you again.
Yeah, it's great to chat with you. It's been a while, so I'm excited to get you back on here. First, before we talk about these pieces of legislation in the legal battles right now, how awesome is it that we have a lot of work to do, a long ways to go, but moving slowly in the right direction, changing the childhood vaccine schedules, changing up the food pyramid, getting rid of dyes out of foods, actually doing some health reforms that, in my opinion, needed to be common sense for a long time. It's finally starting to happen, and I'm really excited about it.
Yeah, you should be, and all Americans should be, because basically American school children and just Americans' children have become the pincushion of the pharmaceutical industry unjustifiably. And the reason I say that is that if you look at Denmark, Sweden, Japan, Singapore, they have far lower levels of infant mortality and childhood illnesses than we do, but they give a fraction of the shots that we do, until Secretary Kennedy just recently reduced the number of shots. So there's no scientific justification. When I was a kid, my siblings and I flew on an airplane with chickenpox. Now they tell you have to quarantine when you get the chickenpox.
Yeah.
Everybody got the chickenpox, and now it's considered a dangerous disease. We do not need to be vaccinating for the chickenpox and lots of the other diseases that they, say that are so dangerous for us.
Yeah.
And so this is just common sense what the Secretary is doing, and I, for one, am thrilled about it.
Yeah, it's really exciting. Why did it take us so long to come to the conclusion that, hey, we take more vaccines than any other nation on the face of the earth, and yet we're still the sickest nation on the face of the earth? It doesn't help us. We're still the number one in heart disease. We're number one in obesity, childhood obesity, other medical issues, autoimmune diseases. Like, we're number one in all these major crises compared to the rest of the world, and yet we didn't put two and two together to be like, wow, apparently whatever we're doing is not working and making us healthier.
The problem is, Andy, it's not that we don't realize it. It's that the powers that be and the vested interests are so powerful, they're doing all they can to obfuscate it. That's the real issue, is that you've got the American Academy of Pediatrics, which takes millions from the pharmaceutical industry. You've got the CDC Foundation. Did you guys know that CDC has its own foundation? They take donations, charitable contributions from Bill Gates and anybody else who give it to him.
Sure.
So you've got that. You've got the CDC owning patents. You've got NIH owning patents on vaccinations. You've got the media being owned by the pharmaceutical industry, largest lobbyist group in the nation, biggest advertiser, I believe. I did some research on this a couple of years ago, and if I remember, it was somewhere in the $35 billion that they spend every year on global advertising.
Wow.
So they own the media. What you are seeing is not what is the truth. It's what they want you to see. It's what their, minions in the mainstream legacy media want you to see. And that's it. And so they have convinced Americans that the science says that vaccines are safe and effective and that we need to give them over 70 doses to our children before age 18. And that's provably false. There is no science showing that entire schedule is safe. No science has ever been done to prove that. And most of the shots, almost all of them, have never been studied against a true placebo. So it's a giant Ponzi scheme. And don't forget, the pharmaceutical industry has no liability for these shots. Yeah. And so they have every incentive to push them, to get the government to mandate them, because the government actually indemnifies them from any liability. So we just have this, it's a perfect storm of corruption and collusion, unfortunately, and essentially crony capitalism. This is not about the truth. If it was a free market, this would never be happening.
Yeah.
And let me just say one other thing. This goes back to the 1800s and the early 1900s, when legislation was passed to force, to basically co-opt the public health system apparatus by the pharmaceutical industry in order to push vaccinations. Public hated them. The public didn't want them because people were being injured and killed by them in the 1800s and early 1900s. And yet what happened was they basically used pulled the strings and used their power in order to hijack the public service, health service. And now we've have these pushed on us ever since. It's not about the market. It's not about safety. It's not about efficacy. It's about an agenda.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. Were you surprised when state health departments have come back and pushed back against the new guidelines from the Department of Health and Human Services and the CDC? Like I said, Kansas and other states are like, we're just going to go along with the original vaccine schedules for children because we believe the science. And they even said in their official quote on why is that the science proves that we're healthier because of these vaccines. Like you said, there's no actual science that proves that whatsoever. But are you surprised or not surprised that state health departments are pushing back?
I'm not really surprised, unfortunately, because, this whole vaccine issue. So you may remember that I made an award-winning documentary on vaccines that came out in 2011 called The Greater Good.
Yeah.
And one of the mothers in our movie talks about how her son became autistic. and how she doesn't understand how the topic became so political. Well, that was back in 2009 when we were filming her,
Sure.
okay, 9 and 10. It's more politicized now. Basically, it used to be, I was 25 years ago the granola crunching, tree hugging hippie mom, okay? And now I'm like, live free or die.
That's right. That's right.
And my point is that for some reason this has become so political because I think that by and large the left trusts government and by and large the right questions government. And so what's happening is that even though what Secretary Kennedy is doing is to follow the science, the science that's never been done and the science that's not discussed, it's been so politicized that, some of these, California, Oregon, Washington, and Hawaii are banding together to create their own little block, to create their own vaccination schedules.
Yeah.
It's happening in the Northeast. They're sticking with the old CDC. And so it's kind of surprising, but it's not. I think it's just another manifestation of the culture war that we've been watching for the last 10 or 15 years. And it's really sad because those children are going to suffer and because there's lots of independent research that has been done showing that unvaccinated children are healthier.
Yeah.
Full stop.
It's absolutely crazy.
That's just the case.
Yeah, it's really
Yeah.
crazy. And it's funny you bring it up because we used to, back in the day, that narrative of, the hippie Democrats and the conservative Republicans and how there's this big tear. And after, especially COVID and going to some of these health conventions and these natural holistic health conventions, and my wife, who's a holistic individual and is a herbalist, we started going to this stuff and it was the hippies that were wearing the tie-dye and the slippers and stuff, and they're wearing MAGA hats and talking about bringing down the government and stuff. And I'm like, honey, we've become the hippies. And it's kind of funny because now we've seen this merging, and it's really kind of funny for sure. So let's take it to the next level. Let's talk about the legal suit
Can
that
I
you
just
got.
say one thing, Andy?
Yeah, please.
I have to say something on this because it's so hilarious. When I was making the movie, I was meeting with all these, very wealthy individuals to see if they would support the film. And I met with all of these people that I thought were my peeps. This is back when I was the hippie. And none of the people on the left wanted to hear anything about vaccine injury or the problems with vaccines or anything like that.
Wow.
And then I sat down with some conservatives, and they were like, well, of course the government's lying. Of course the CDC can't be trusted. And I'm like, smack my head. These are my people.
I know it. It's very strange. Yeah. It was the first time where I had seen someone wearing a tie-dyed skirt with dreadlocks and a MAGA hat on at the same time. And I was like, this is the most bizarre environment that I've ever been in. And I love it. I absolutely love it. And now I've embraced it. And I have my own braided Viking hair. So there we are. We got the long hair and the hippie stuff going on. Leslie, I tell you what, we got to take a hard break. Let's hang on the line. When we come back, I want to talk about your lawsuit that you have going on, challenging taking it up to the federal courts, the Supreme Court. Can we actually have individuals make their own decisions on unwanted medical treatment? With the battle now that rages between federal health officials, state health officials, where's the individual fall into this play? We'll do that when we come back around the corner for your pre-Friday celebration. It's the Voice of Reason. Stay right here.
This is the Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Big government is broken. Every year, politicians fail to pass a budget as the deficit continues to grow. Every month, unelected bureaucrats pile on rules no one voted for, strangling our economy. And every day, DC's broken system gets in the way of the American dream. Washington isn't working, and the people pay the price. At Americans for Prosperity, we believe it's time to fix the system. Now, join the movement to make government work.
As you know, I'm always looking for a good snack, but it's hard to find good quality snacks without all the unhealthy additives. But now that problem is over. It's time to enjoy J&S Smoked Snacks. Real cuts of beef, real wood smoke, and real flavor that's crafted in small batches to keep every bag fresh. I promise you'll be addicted. And with numerous different flavors, you'll never get enough. This is not your average gas station jerky. It's J&S Smoked Snacks. Find them online at jssmokedsnacks.com and tell them I sent you.
When you choose Patriot Mobile, you're not just picking a wireless provider. You're choosing a company that shares your values. It's easy to switch, and you can keep your number, your phone, and most importantly, your values. With Patriot Mobile, you get the power of nationwide coverage on all 3 major networks. That means wherever life takes you, we've got you covered on the same reliable networks you already know and trust. And when you need us, we're here for you right here at home. Our customer service is 100% US-based because we believe that support should come from people who understand you and your values. At Patriot Mobile, you're not just another call, you're a priority. In today's world, where you spend your money matters more than ever, every dollar is a vote for the kind of future you want to build. Join the thousands of Americans making a difference with every call, every text, and every connection. Choose a company that shares your values. Choose Patriot Mobile.
Switch today and get 1 month of service absolutely free by going to patriotmobile.com/reason.
What fuels the freedom to dream bigger? Our country's greatest breakthroughs were born from bold ideas and the ability to take one small step forward. At Americans for Prosperity, freedom and opportunity find their defenders. Because our country's next giant leap is just around the corner. Are you ready to step up?
Hey, the live show may be almost over today, but it doesn't have to be for you. As always, enjoy the Voice of Reason with our daily podcast by finding the Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser on any of your favorite podcasting sites. Just find us, subscribe, have it automatically downloaded, and listen at your convenience whenever you want to bring some more reason into your day. And a lot of people are doing it. Also, you can always find the video of the show, along with articles, additional commentary, and maybe a few sarcastic remarks by following us on our social media. Stay up to date with everything going on with the show, including upcoming guests, breaking news stories, interesting articles, and maybe some memes. Help us in the ongoing battle with censorship and shadow banning from social media by following us on the social media at Hooser Reason on all of our social media sites. For all these social media links, podcast links, contact information, or just general information of the show, go to our website at HooserReason.com. There you can listen live every day, read our latest monthly blog, find our radio affiliate list, or even listen to our latest infomercials and special content. Plus, you can always reach out to the program by sending me a message on social media, emailing us at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com, or sending an email through our website at HooserReason.com. Whether it's content on the show, whether it's a guest that you've liked or disliked, or whether you want to disagree with me, and disagreement's always appreciated. While you're there, make sure to sign up for our monthly newsletter. Each month you'll get the latest update on the show, updates from the Hooser Media Network, and our latest blog discussing topical issues of the day. Finally, if you want to help support the show, become a member of our Patreon site and help us fight for the cause of truth, reason, and common sense every day, and get more of the same by becoming the ultimate Hoosierholic. Get additional interviews that sometimes we don't always get to air on the radio. Hear our special segments or even our infomercials before anyone else, and have a chance to chat with other great Hoosierholics from all over. By becoming a Patreon subscriber, you're not only helping the fight for conservative values, you're helping us get more content and information out through the Hooser Media Network. Find out more information online at HooserReason.com. Lastly, follow and support all of our partners with the show. The Voice of Reason has been growing more and more every year, and it's because of so many great partners helping us get the message out to you. From show partners to local radio affiliates in your area to streaming sites, podcasting sites, and more, we have so many supporters and listeners now than ever before, and we want to thank you. It's time to bring back common sense, and we do it right here every day with the Voice of Reason.
America's safe space for common sense. This is the Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Yeah, reason, common sense, rationale. It's what we do here on this program each and every day. Fascinating conversation with the holistic hippies that we are and the conservative movement trying to get rid of the health regulations at the federal level as we hang out with Leslie Manukian. She's with the Health Freedom Defense Fund. Also, they're packed as well in their organization trying to change legislation around the country and the legal battles that we're seeing right now. Leslie, I don't want to waste any time with the few minutes that we have left on the show. Talk about what you guys are doing with this legal battle. It's going to the court system, the battle between federal health officials and state health officials, and now state health officials and the consumer themselves. Who gets to make the ultimate decision for our health choices?
Well, let me just say that basically we've sued the Los Angeles Unified School District a couple times. And this second time that we did it, We argue that the COVID shots don't stop transmission or infection, that they are therefore a private medical matter, and that natural immunity must be recognized by the courts, and that the 1905 Supreme Court case called Jacobson versus Massachusetts doesn't apply because it only applied to something that stops transmission and infection. But even Jacobson didn't say that people could be forced to take a shot. Anyway, the Ninth Circuit just last summer, July 31st, the Ninth Circuit issued a ruling in the case saying that it doesn't matter whether a shot stops transmission or not and infection. All that matters is that a state official could believe it would help the individuals.
Wow. So even just
Yes.
the idea of it potentially helping people allows them to make that mandate that this is what you have to do.
And it doesn't matter if it stops transmission or infection. Holy cow. Think about that, Andy. So are they going to mandate that that everyone has to take ivermectin next time?
Right.
How is the left going to feel about that?
Yeah.
How are the public in general? So all they have to do is say, you know what, it's a public health issue. Well, okay, it's a public health issue. People are too depressed. We're going to make them take antidepressants.
Right.
It's a public health issue that people aren't focused enough and productive enough. We're going to make them take ADD meds.
Right.
It's a public health issue that we have a declining population, and therefore we're going to make people get pregnant, young women get pregnant.
That's insane.
Or
So
conversely, we have a population problem. You see, they have basically, the Ninth Circuit, the most overturned circuit in the nation,
yes.
has said in this case, it doesn't matter if it has any public health application, we can still force it on you as long as we believe or could believe it will have some kind of a benefit for you as an individual. That's outrageous. It contradicts 120 years of Supreme Court precedent. In the last 50 to 60 years, the Supreme Court has said Jacobson requires a balancing test between your liberty interest as an individual and the state's interest in an emergency. But it has to be an emergency. And you know what? COVID, by most yardsticks, was not an emergency. We knew from the very beginning, from the Princess cruise ships, that it wasn't a killer as claimed by our federal health agencies.
Right.
But they pushed it on us anyway. And so this case is so important because they have completely twisted what the Supreme Court has said over decades, which is that you have a liberty interest in refusing unwanted medical interventions. That's the most recent precedent out of the Supreme Court. And yet the Ninth Circuit has turned that on its head and says, it doesn't matter. As long as a state official says public health, claim it, they don't have to have any proof, then the courts need not become involved. No judicial review is not only not necessary, but permitted.
Yeah. That is such a wide range and opening the door, like you said, for opportunity for anybody to take advantage of that situation. It kind of reminds me of like a red flag law for firearms in the Second Amendment of we deem that we think you might have a mental health crisis or you might potentially harm yourself or somebody else, so therefore we're going to get rid of your due process, take your firearm, and then you fight in the court system to try and get your firearm back. This allows the opportunity for government to make any decision they want to. Oh, it's a health concern. Therefore, you must take this medicine. You must take this vaccine. You must do this, follow these certain protocol and triple mask yourself if we think that there's a really bad case of the flu with the superbug that's going around right now and doctors got the wrong strain wrong for the flu vaccine this year. So now you have to wear 3 different masks. This opens up a really wide range of precedent, doesn't it?
It does, and this is why we have petitioned the Supreme Court to overturn it, to review the ruling, because it is so egregious. It is such a violation of the most fundamental principles that underpin our republic. It has got to be stopped. And I think the Supreme Court will take it because the Supreme Court doesn't want the Ninth Circuit making its own law, basically. That's what they're doing.
Yeah, exactly.
So this is, I think, one of the most important cases in the nation, and so I appreciate all the prayers that they take the case.
Yeah, well, thank you for letting us know about it, and we want to continue to see this fight. If people want to know more information about your coalition, real quick, how can they get a hold of you guys?
So they can find us at healthfreedomdefense.org, and the coalition that you mentioned is going to try and pass medical freedom acts in as many states as possible. People may not know this, but last spring I was able to get a medical.
Leslie,
we got to go.
Yeah, we got to go.
Thanks,
we're out of
Eddie.
time, my friend. We'll do it again here real soon. Leslie Manukian. We'll see you back on the radio. Hey, it's Andy Hooser. You know, when I get off the air every day, the battle for me against limited government, censorship, and even unfactual content is far from over. That's why now I'm so happy to say that the Hooser Media Network is giving you more opportunity to catch the voice of reason along with other great shows and podcasts. It's been a long time in the works, and now you can finally enjoy more great content, services, and topical shows. We're the safe space for alternative talk,